and I will turn it over to you.
Okay. So as we said in the email, we're going to go over the SaaS metric KPIs and then the additions and then any feedback you might have.
Mhm.
Um, Alethea, did you want to share your screen or should I share mine?
I can share my screen. Yeah.
Okay.
And Larry, I'm not sure if Nivi had mentioned this in the mail, but so the Nivi is currently the project manager. So like the way that we decided to do is that we'll rotate the project manager responsibility amongst the four of us for each quarter, so that everyone gets a chance to do it. And I would be taking over as the project manager for this quarter. Just wanted to let you know. So maybe like the agenda and then the post meeting mail, it would come from me for this quarter. And next quarter it'll again change to one of Rashmila or usual.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
All right then. So let me quickly share my screen.
You should be able to.
Mhm. Yes, just let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Um, so what we did after we came back from our break was to put some thought into the SaaS KPI, the KPI metrics that we were discussing the last time. For that, we went through the Google Analytics dashboard, and I think the dashboard itself has some great metrics related to revenue, monetization, engagement, etc. And we were also going through the project drive, and we saw the list of KPIs that you had created, like someone from the Abacus team had created, and these were also pretty like, comprehensive. A lot of the metrics we felt, at least in the subsets of revenue or financial related customer acquisition and sales, we felt these were very comprehensive. But for customer engagement, we've thought of a few other metrics that we could explore. So the plan today is to maybe discuss these metrics in each of these four verticals and try to create a more, what do you say? Like create a more shortened list of KPIs that we might want to proceed with.
All right, very good.
Yep.
Perhaps we
So
could at minimum rank them as you know keepers, ones to consider and ones to not consider, something like that, so that we don't lose anything in
yes,
the process of vetting them.
I can actually do one thing. I will create a copy of this sheet. So okay,
Is this
I'm
in the
not.
shared drive or someplace else?
But this is the one in the shared drive.
Okay.
So I'll just create a copy of this sheet so that we can make the changes on the copy and just keep the original as is.
All
So
right.
in
Very
case
good.
we go back, we'll still have the original. Do you just want me to rename the sheet to like original list and then a working list, something like that, so that we know which sheet has which
Yep.
metrics?
Yep. Label the tabs. Yep.
Yeah. So I'll call this the original. Yes.
Good.
Yeah, I'll just reset the column a bit.
Well, you can just drag it. You can just drag the lot. You can just drag it. That'll widen it. I can teach you all kinds of Excel tricks and sheet tricks.
Yep. Uh, this works.
Okay. Monthly recurring revenue, certainly analyze. Well, I'll let you walk through it. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just have a flag which says, oh, okay, just one second.
Could just be ABC, just
Yeah. So I think like the three categories could be what? keep I think monthly recurring revenue will be something that we'll keep for sure.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I was just checking of how we can add custom metrics in Google Analytics, because we already have a platform where we are seeing some analytics. So we were thinking maybe it might be best to just keep everything in one place. So when I was like doing a preliminary reading, what I found was that you can create up to 20 custom metrics on Google Analytics for a particular class of user. So I think 20 would be our limit from these. But again, we can just dig deeper and see if there are like any workarounds or if any of these metrics are already there in the Google Analytics, so that we can keep it and still take extra metrics from this to create as custom metrics. But
Okay.
that's one call out that I wanted to make before we start creating this list.
Do you need to add additional code for the Google Analytics at this stage?
I believe to integrate the metrics into the dashboard, we might need to do something like that. But uh, today's objective could be more of just selecting the metrics that we want, and then uh, how to code and how to implement could be a discussion for the next meeting.
Okay.
Yep. So I think like the first three would be very important, like the monthly revenue, maybe the annualized revenue, as well as the customer churn.
Agreed.
If we want to, uh, again, maybe as a starting point, we can still keep the annual custom churn rates, but then if we are not able to fit it inside like the 20 metrics, again, 20 is a number for now, we can dig deeper and just confirm that. But tentatively, if we take with 20 as our limit, and if we are not able to fit metrics, or if we have like more important metrics, then we could maybe drop one of the annualized run rate or the annualized annual customer churn rates, because that could be like calculated ad hoc basis, because we would have the monthly churn rate and the revenue rate.
Let me ask you a question. The second one, annual run rate.
Yeah.
What run rate of what?
I think it's just the annual recurring rate of the revenue,
Well,
because even the formula says
so it's annual return. It's annual recurring revenue. Is it annual
Yeah.
recurring revenue or annual run rate?
I think how it's usually calculated is, let's say we have our monthly recurring revenue and we want to project what the analyzed revenue could look like. So it'll give us like a target for the upcoming 12 months, rolling 12 months. And it helps us set a target. We can then, let's say, if you're working on any specific metrics to increase subscription rate, which will in turn generate revenue, then we can basically compare with this projected run rate. So that is usually why you look at it this, I think.
I see. So this is more of a projection than a retrospective.
I mean, obviously we can calculate for historical data as well, but it helps with projections as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Keep.
I think we could keep these for now. So again, like this was a question that we had for you. The main categories of KPIs that we identified were things related to financials or revenue. There were KPIs related to customer acquisition. There were KPIs related to sales, and there were KPI related to customer engagement. If we have, let's say, 20 as our limit, would we want to keep it as 5 per each category? Or would we be, say, think financial or revenue based KPIs are more important? So maybe we can have 8 there, and in sales, we can have 3 or something like that.
Right. Well, that's why I was suggesting this scoring approach. You do a first pass on all of them and make decisions, and then go back and see what the numbers look like and make deeper decisions.
Got it.
Right? I don't think we need X number for each category at this stage. Let's just see what we want to keep and go from there.
Okay. And cool. So moving ahead, we next have the annual customer churn rate with contracted customers.
Yeah.
I think this in our terms would be more like the subscribers, the paid subscribers, right?
The group side, the annual payers.
Annual payers, yep.
Yeah.
Do we want this as a separate metric? Because that would also like give us some clarity on the bigger piece of revenue that might come in.
Well, we do want to keep it, and down the road, it's going to be the source of most of the revenue, I hope. So we want to keep that.
Yeah. So this is going to be
and put it or annual, yeah, groups or annual subscribers.
Yeah.
Good.
So this is done, and revenue churn is more like the monthly churn rate. So that would just be the change of your monthly churn rate month over month, which I think will be a good metric to track if we want to see how things are improving. Let's say, for example, we had some project objectives where we wanted to make changes to see how engagement will increase or how subscription will increase, right? So maybe for those, calculating or like using this revenue churn rate might be helpful because we can see how the changes that we make impact the revenue. So I think this could be a good metric to keep.
Agreed.
Yep. And this would just be the total deals over time. And I think this should already be there in Google Analytics if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I think this is something like all-time subscriptions.
I would put that in the weight category at this point. That is something you could build retrospectively, right? I mean, most of these you build retrospectively, but you want real-time information.
Yep. And so I think this is maybe a repetition because the MRR growth rate and the revenue churn rate are the same. So I think I'll just discard one of the two. And moving ahead, we next have the net new MRR, which is the revenue from new subscriptions. Again, I think this would be important from our perspective because we want to increase the number of subscribers. So one way to track that would be how much revenue we are getting from them.
Then revenue gain as a result of successful. So, yeah.
Yep. And again, if this is something that we are trying to do, that is like upsell and cross sell, I don't know how relevant it will be for Abacus, but if we're trying to do, we can track this as well. But
Yeah,
if it's not,
that's a wait. That's a wait because it's a wait.
yeah.
Currently, we don't offer any extension of subscription, right? It's usually, I think, subscribers can change the subscription they have, but they can't. Is it considered as upselling or cross-selling in case of Abacus?
Yes. So, for instance, going from pipeline planner to plus sectors, that's an upsell.
Hmm.
Even going from basic to planner is an upsell, which I'm going to try and actually, I'm going to offer a discount code to basic to see if they'll go to a paying customer planner. And then there'll be people who are trying it out for a while and they're part of a team and they get their team to come on board, and that's an upsell. So there's lots of opportunities for upsell.
Yep.
Church MRR or churn MRR?
I think it should be churn. This should be the revenue lost from customers who are canceling the subscription.
Yep.
I think these three, the next three are important in terms of retention, because one is how much revenue is lost because of cancellation. One is how much revenue is lost because of downgrading of a plan. And third is the revenue generated by a previously, previous customer who had canceled the subscription, who converted back to paid. So I think these three will be important from a retention point of view. So I think
Yeah.
Even the third one, I think it's more around like returning customers, right? I mean the one which says reactive MRR, it's
Mhm.
from returning users, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, people who subscribed, then canceled, and then came back. And there could be some of those already.
Okay.
So we'll keep those.
And so next would be more like a typical SaaS ratio, which is the quick ratio, which is the new MRR plus expansion MRR. And then again, there is a formula to calculate it, which basically just indicates the health of revenue growth.
And that's a calculation based on the data above it, correct?
Yep.
All right. So it's not, I guess we have to look at these KPIs in terms of what can be internally calculated and what information needs to come from an outside source,
Mhm.
right? Like Google Analytics or whatever the tool is. In other words, earlier you said we have 20 KPIs we want to focus down to. If some are internally calculated, then they would not be part of the 20. Even though we were going to want to calculate it, we don't want to burn that opportunity for something else of the 20.
Mhm.
Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think one thing to keep in mind here would be whatever we are calculating outside the system might have to be manually calculated, or at least the data has to be manually updated every time we need to calculate. And I believe the KPIs that Google Analytics provides would be auto updated if we set up the system correctly. So I think that should be a consideration if you're planning to calculate some KPIs outside Google Analytics.
Oh, there have to be. I mean, some of this information wouldn't necessarily come through Google Analytics. So,
Yeah.
So for instance, a group or a integration customer would bypass Google Analytics altogether.
Mhm.
As a for instance, because that would be a separate invoice. The payment would be via invoice, not via Stripe, and so forth. And it would just bypass that system.
Mhm.
Okay.
Got it. And the next three metrics are more related to the expenditure. So
Yeah.
the first is like the burn rate, and then we have the net burn rate, which is the burn rate minus the revenue. and we also have the cost of goods sold, and finally we have the gross margin. So I think these are like standard revenue metrics, and we can keep all these.
Yeah. I mean, those are absolutely, and that's going to be part of whatever bookkeeping system is put in place. We'll be able to map this. You can build a custom report on that.
I think we've done through the first set of KPIs.
Yep.
Do we want to get started with the second one?
Yes.
So now coming to the customer acquisition related KPIs, like the first one is the sales funnel metric. So this would be metrics that show again, like right now is not very quantified because it just shows how many web visitors are there, how many leads, how many qualified leads, and then how many turn to customers. So I think, but we could do that, right? We can track this through Google Analytics. Sorry.
Well, you need to understand, particularly if you're working with outside vendors, this is the way to measure their performance in generating leads to the website and conversions and new customers and so forth. So this is very important.
I think this also will help. I mean, funnel metrics will also help understand which page is performing better and which page is not performing better. For example, if there is a specific, like if churn is happening due to a specific page, then this is the funnel that will actively point it out. Because the drop in that page will go down, and that is the drop which will affect the entire funnel. So this could actually be very useful for the objective that we have around uh, uh, user acquisition and increasing number of subscribers.
So what you're suggesting is a relationship between particular web pages and sales.
Yes. So let's say you go on as a visitor who's just exploring the Abacus website. You land on the first web page, and then you follow the sequence of web pages that lead you to the subscription page, asks you if you want to subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, you go ahead or you don't go ahead. At any point of these pages, you can drop off because something might have convinced you or something might not have convinced you. So this could ideally help point out what is causing, like which specific part is causing the churn, if at all. So it helps in troubleshooting a lot.
So what's the weak link
Yes.
in that chain?
Yes, exactly.
What that needs to be improved or evaluated. Okay.
I can actually, Aditya, if you can keep sharing, I can take over the customer acquisition part. So the next one is marketing qualified leads. I think it's around signing up for the free. One second. So I think, okay, yeah, this is around clustering up your users into multiple buckets. And in that case, our buckets could be around subscription. So let's say we've seen through we have the first metric around sales funnel metrics, right? Where we deep dive into which page of the funnel is getting affected. And we see a specific page is getting affected by higher churn, but that higher churn could be happening due to a specific type of users also. For example, it could be only free trial, it could be at a free trial on the free trial page where they are dropping off, or specific subscription users. So clustering, this is where around marketing qualified leads, I think, comes in. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sounds right. Sounds right.
Uh,
I'll be curious if the data can enable that kind of profiling.
so I think when we start off, we could keep it first very high level, in the sense that we keep the subscription levels. So because that would be necessary having, and we already have the different types of subscriptions.
Mhm.
So we can just pull that in, hopefully. And obviously there are multiple other levels of user data, which we can, if like location geography of geography of the user, or if there's any specific, I don't think device language is going to affect that much, but there are already a few existing clustering groups that exist the minute we use any device, and it's going to be immediately available to us, like location, device language,
Mhm.
what kind of subscription I'm trying to buy. If I'm when I'm trying to sign up, I give a few information, so that also becomes our clustering criteria. So these are information which we can bucket it into as a starting level, but I think subscription geography is going to be very easy to incorporate, as far as I understand, because it's a part of any URL as well.
Another variable as well that I did an analysis on and is in the user folder for you is to look at all of the people who touched Abacus in terms of a free to subscription, about 116, I think, as to what sector of the nonprofit world they work in. Are they in healthcare? Are they in human services? Are they consultants, for instance? So I did that analysis, and then I did the analysis of subscribers, basic and paid, and found some differences, nothing remarkable at this point. But the pie charts are in the user folder if you want to have a look at those. And they wouldn't show up in Google Analytics. They won't be able to segment that.
Okay. So we can, maybe we can keep a note of what kind of clusters we want to check here. And I think specifically they've mentioned here the main criteria is if anyone has any marketing campaign that is asking a user to sign up for the free trial. So that is one of the uh, criteria that is being also listed here, because I think the next metric is related to that. So we can make a note of the higher level clusters that we have, and um, then build on top of that instead of covering everything at first. So at least that gives us some ground.
Great, great.
Aditya, do you want to note down, or should I note down? Let me know. It's fine either way. Yeah, that is fine. That is fine. As long as you say keep a note, I'll remember. I can add it after the call. So the next one, sales qualified leads. So this is around Abacus is sending out marketing campaign emails, right? And if a user is being think of it as um, if a user is interacting with the email campaign and saying that, okay, yes, I want to sign up for the free trial plan, that free demo plan that we have. So it helps check um, not only the click-through rate, but how many people are engaging with the marketing campaign in that. So it's a not filtered version of what we have before. And then we can obviously further segment that into any of the clusters that we've found out.
Understood.
Before I go ahead forward, so this free demo that Abacus shows, is that something that leads the user to the subscription page directly? So where does the user get dropped when and if they click on this uh, link that they get? Just trying to understand um, what exact, like if we need to change something around this, then we can plan on it. So just for like information.
Well, a free demonstrate. So there in the contact us is, I think, the link to where people can sign up for a free demonstration. I don't recall other buttons that do that. And that's live. So people could just go right to contact us to, I would need to look, but I think that's true. So it would bypass those people. It would bypass the pathway monthly subscribers would normally take, or any subscriber would normally take. Is that it? Is that the right response? Is that making sense?
Yeah. I think we can. Is it possible to get the link so that we can also check it out? Because it'll help us see if we want to measure something else from that page as well.
The link to, it's all in the website.
The demo page, right? So do they directly land on the demo page?
I need to look. I think what it amounts to is a link to my calendar.
Because I'm trying to understand if like how the journey of the user is from when they get the link to when they land on the demo page.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. The demo page, book a demonstration button is on the contact us page. And then the destination for that is my booking calendar. And that's it.
Okay.
And
I
you
see.
could do that yourself and get to my calendar and see where it goes. And I don't know if Google Analytics picks that up or not.
Got it. Okay. But this is the page that the users get dropped off to if they click on a link.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one, okay, so for this, we can keep it, right?
Yes.
Got it. Yeah.
It's the thing about SaaS. There are lots of KPIs. To be sure. Okay.
So opportunities, if I'm understanding this correctly, these are the users who have basically shown interest by signing up for a demo, and they act as sort of, I won't use the word leads because it's mentioned below, but yeah, they act as leads for the the Abacus team to reach out for future subscription purposes.
Right. I mean, they're the next level closer to a sale
Yes,
than a qualified.
yes. The potential users.
Yeah, high potential.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this would be definitely keep then.
Yeah, because those
Um,
are the ones that you anticipate closing a
hmm,
deal.
right.
And if your KPI, if your percentage, your close rate is ailing, is low, for instance, in Copley Rath, I keep track of my close rate. Once I get to a proposal, I keep track of my close rate, and I'm at 52% or something like that, which is pretty good. And we want to know that for Abacus as well. Visitor to lead ratio. So how many visits to the website does it take to get a qualified lead, right?
Yeah, so the next two is basically what I was talking about before. It's the larger funnel. It's been broken up into two sections of the funnel. The first part of the funnel is when a visitor is just exploring the website up until the point when they reach the subscription page. And when they sign up is when they become or when they sign up or when they not sorry, not my bad. When not when they sign up, but when they um show interest for the freedom demo, they become a potential lead. And that's the first part of the journey. And if these leads convert to customers, so that's another part of the funnel, then that gives us the lead to customer conversion rate. And usually uh visitor to customer journey is also something mentioned like calculated, in case, for example, if a customer is coming directly and signing up, in that case that would also be useful. So this could be fairly easy to do if there are events that are being tracked associated with this every single page. Uh, so then in that case, this could actually be pretty easy to measure, and we could actually keep this. We ideally should keep this.
Yes.
Um, MQL to SQL, it's just the ratio around number of users who have shown interest for the demo and number of users who have received the marketing campaign which has the demo. So it's a ratio. Again, it's like the one previously we talked about. It's a derived formula. Depends on past formulas.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Uh, Free trial to paid customer. I think this is also very important because it shows us potential where uh, what percentage of free trial are converting to customers, because again, these are also our not next, but also high potential possible converts who, and if like a higher churn here would show that is the space of our opportunity area.
The free trial is designed for reduced friction. We call it friction, to get to, so people can have the least amount of friction. So that's why I put no credit card needed. I added that recently because a lot of people figure, gee, if I sign up for this, they're going to want my credit card and I'm going to get sucked into paying for it if I don't want to, right? So, and so I've been just keeping an eye on if that's made a change, and it may have done so. So least friction in to customer is highly important. This is one of the most important metrics because my whole pro forma, my financial model for growth is based on the volume of free trial users. Assuming that's the front door, they'll do that first. and I take a percentage of this ratio, right, to base my whole financial projections on. 1%, 2%, become planners. Another 1 or 2% become sectors. Another X% become small teams, so forth. And it's all based on free trial. And so all the marketing effort is to drive people to sign up for the free trial. And so measuring that is very important.
Okay, so then we
Put
can,
that in capital letters.
yeah, this is like very definitely keep.
Yes.
The next few are around marketing.
Marketing. Yeah.
So average amount of our average marketing amount spent on each contract, if I'm understanding this correctly. And I think it's measured as a percentage. Um, this could help us, I think, in the second objective that we have around again increasing subscriptions, but by minimizing the marketing spend. So keeping an idea of okay, how much customer acquisition cost that we have, marketing spend comes in there, um, making sure for like every single contract value marketing spend is as not as yeah as low as possible, basically.
Yeah. Well, this will become very important when I get funded. And a lot of that money is going to be going into marketing in different approaches, different channels, different vendors, and tracking this to know which approach is working is very important as well. And let's face it, all of this feeds the first set that we talked about. It feeds the money. We started by counting money, but in order to get the money, we need customers.
New customers, exactly. So we're keeping this for sure.
Mhm.
The next one is um, the month-on-month growth of users who had clicked on the demo version above. So again, I feel this is a derived formula, and once we have the users who showed interest and clicked on the demo, ideally on Google Analytics, we would be able to generate and we have, let's say, the data of last 12 months or last 6 months. We would be able to generate what a graph of the month-on-month curve looks like. So that delta would not be too difficult to show. Annual contract value and total contract value. It's mostly around how much a a subscriber is paying for the contract that they have signed up for. I think it differs from user to user, given like subscription to subscription. So that's why I was saying segmenting by subscription is also often very important. Not every user in every subscription might behave the same way. So a 24-month contract of $60,000 might not behave, that user might not behave the same way who's an individual subscriber. This is also, I think, very important to have because this will help compare with the customer acquisition cost that we have. So help us measure the difference.
I agree.
Um,
This is especially true when we're able to integrate into CRMs. And there'll be a wide variety of contract values. And getting our arms around those will be important.
So I only had a doubt with this one. So average revenue per account, when we say per account, do we mean because several subscriptions have more than one, it's offering it to a group, right? So is it then counting per active accounts? For example, we are a part of a small team group, and each of us hold an account with Abacus. So is it counting based on a per group or per four accounts in our case? So
Well, it's active accounts, so it could be a corporate account, it could be integration account, it could be a planner account. So this is not as important, I think, as the others are more granular and more illuminating. This is a gross KPI, which is less important at this stage.
okay, fine. Average selling price.
That's quite similar to 62, the one above it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd wait. This is important.
Yeah, this is I think this is definitely a key, because how else would we measure
Yeah.
if you're
This David Kellogg's alternative was simply an alternative to the one you're on now, customer acquisition cost. It was a different formula to get to that. So keep one of them. They're both not important.
okay. Okay. The next one is also, I think it's related. We already would have the customer acquisition cost, and then we are calculating what is the monthly, like per customer monthly revenue rate for it.
How long does it take to get your money back
Yeah.
in plain speak? It is an important one. Gross margin adjusted for payback period. To me, this is a wait. This is
I think also for this, we would have to, I mean, the gross margin is something which we would have to set and decide from before.
yeah, you need to decide what goes into the margin, what goes into the expenses to come up with your gross margin. And this is a down the road to me. It'll be important, but not in the near term. Because the expenses are going to be so disproportionate to the long run. Or the early expenses will be disproportionate to the long run, which will be lower in a lot of ways. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, of course. The next one, I mean, I think we should keep it customer lifetime value, help us finally. I think it could be beneficial not only for the acquisition metrics, but also when we are taking a look at how it is impacting engagement and retention of users. I think it's all tied together.
I agree.
I don't know why I'm not able to type.
It's stuck, huh?
I think it's working. Good. So I think these were some of the customer acquisition related metrics, and I think we have like about 8 minutes, so we can quickly go over the sales metric and the user engagement metric. So for the sales metric, again, I think we have the lifetime value, which is more like a derived metric of 3 times into the cost of acquiring a customer. So I think we are targeting at least that much to be made in the lifetime of a customer. So I think since it's a derived metric, we can directly calculate it.
Okay.
And again, our win rate is also going to be a derived metrics because we are calculating opportunities earlier. We'll be able to calculate both the opportunities won and the opportunities lost. So calculating win rate would also uh, kind of give us like a success rate of how much we convert. And because
Yeah.
it's easy, I think.
We need to keep it.
And, again, this is something that we wanted to discuss. So uh, this sales commission is going to be more for, if there is a big sales team and all those. But as far as I understand, Abacus does not have dedicated sales team who make the pitches, right? So
That's correct at this time, and I would envision more of a bonus. I would put keep there instead of discard. There'll be an overall bonus structure for the team early on, but not a sales commission model yet.
but then here it has to be so this metric as such might not make difference, but we would need to still think of a bonus structure. Is my understanding?
Yeah, put it down. I come from the school of bonus structure having to do with the entire organization's success and bonuses for all employees approach. However, the sales world is the sales world, and commission is definitely a driving force in that world. So I'll need to be consulting with my chief of sales and marketing and enterprise sales to figure this one out.
Got it. Yeah, again, just aside this thing, I used to work in the incentive compensation space in my previous work experience. So this I can't agree more how important this is. We've seen a lot of how it can actually be transformational.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a serious incentive driver.
All right. So moving ahead, we have the sales efficiency, which is again, since this would involve gross margin calculation, and we discussed about the complexity in accurately predicting it for now. So I think this could take a backseat at least tentatively.
Yes, agreed. That's a wait.
Yeah.
Revenue per lead.
And again, this is also going to be more like a derived metrics because we have the annual contract value as well as we have the lead. So I think this could just be calculated.
Also, it helps. I mean, usually new sales revenue is what is, let's say, calculated a lot if you are looking at customer acquisition. And the revenue per lead helps you take a step back and understand if that value is going up or down per lead, that whoever is coming onto your page. So it helps you give like a way more like narrower look into the whatever experiment we might be running or change we might be doing. Yeah, go
Agreed.
ahead.
No, it's well said.
Um, Also, I think the lead velocity rate could be something that would be in line with what Rashmila just said. We can see the trend of how the leads are coming. So, month over month or like period over period, how is it changing? Is it increasing, decreasing? So I think that could be a good measure to have. And again, it's a derived metric, so I think it.
If we have that data, then it would be a good thing to measure.
Yep. So we will have the number of qualified leads, which could be like the sales lead or marketing lead. We just need to calculate how it's changing over period. Let's say how it's changing month over month, week over week,
Yep.
quarter over quarter or whatever. So I think this should be doable.
Yeah.
And coming to the last section, which is the customer related metric. So
Daily active users,
I
very
think this,
important.
yep.
It's important. we're getting a bump in users. There's some graphs that I've generated in the user folder that are showing some good trend lines. Let's put it that way. Go ahead.
Yep. And the net promoter score is more like a metric which this is something that might require like more help, where we need to first send out a survey and then collect their responses. And the way it is classified is, let me just go to the other sheet because I was working on this this particular metric. So again, like the way it works could be you have the promoters, and promoters are classified as customers who have a rating of 9 or 10 on a scale of 0 to 10. And similarly, detractors would be the ones who have a rating of 0 to 6. So we could just see the percentage in difference between these two. So this could be a way for us to, I mean, of course, we can get the average from a survey, but this will also give us the difference in the opinion. So that could be one metric to gauge the engagement or satisfaction.
It would be just a thought bubble. On LinkedIn, you can do surveys, right? You've seen those. And to survey the marketplace for the pain points that Abacus addresses might be instructive for us. That makes sense? We say, does your shop do major gift fundraising? Yes, no. If yes, do you have trouble coming up with how much to ask for it? Just those two questions could be very illuminating for us. Which can feed into some of these, eventually feed into these, because all of these surveys require a large number of people to survey. The results otherwise will not be valuable. So, got to get our numbers up. I have 100 plus people who have used Abacus in some way or another, but that's still a pretty small number.
Good.
Okay, I understand that.
And I know we are at time, so do we want to continue and just cover this list, or maybe take it up later?
We can either pick it up, or you all can make the final decisions on this.
Okay.
Does that work for you? I mean,
Yeah.
they're not, it's final is in this situation, but go ahead and finish it, and maybe give me an email. Let me know you finished it, and I'll go have a look and confirm what you've done.
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
Does that work?
Mhm.
This has been quite valuable. I'm glad I stumbled upon some good literature on this subject, and it's accelerated our efforts, and it's a great thing to have. So thank you for going through this.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's also helpful for us because these terms keep changing from every place you would work in. So it's just nice it's at least good to also like check if what we're thinking is right or not.
Yeah, and I'm increasingly getting experience on the ground with customers to be able to actualize some of these things and think about them in a functional way. So we're both learning in that way. Very good. So we're on for next week?
With Tom.
Very good. Welcome back. Back to hitting the books or hitting the laptop.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Larry. Everyone.
Thanks.